Well, good morning, Miss George. How are you doing?
I am doing just great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. A little sleepy, a little fatigued for being inside the house for so
Ah,
many days, but
oh,
other
honey.
than that,
Yes, I understand that. Oh my gosh. Yes, I do.
practicing social distancing.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so
Definitely.
for most of you guys, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Go on.
I was going to say for people who tune into the Sistas Talk podcast every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m., it's been a little shaky lately. Nikki and I have been definitely trying to be in accordance with the order to social distance ourselves from everyone and everything. And so we're just trying to do the right thing by staying home, making sure that we prevent this spread of the virus.
Yes.
And that's what I want, Miss George. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just agreeing, totally agreeing with you. Oh my gosh. Yes. Social distancing. It's so, so important.
Absolutely, which that's the reason why we're doing this podcast special today. I thought it was so important to let everybody know that this virus is real. For people who believe that this is a game, that this is some type of conspiracy, that people are just making this up, it is not. It's just absolutely not true. And I need for people to wake up and see reality for what it is. We have somebody on the phone right now, Miss Tina Lewis George, who has also been a person that's come on our show. She is a part of our Sisters Talk family. And it just really shocked me when I found the news out. And so I thought it was important that you come onto the show and explain to people just how real this
Mhm.
virus is.
Yes. I'm definitely honored and just blessed to be able to just be on the show and to even talk about my experience with this COVID-19. So thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for wanting to spend some time, to talk to us because I know that it's not something easy to talk about.
No, no, it is not. But like I always say, when God allows you to go through something, it's really not for you. You'll be blessed in it, but it's for somebody else. It's for somebody else. So I,
Absolutely.
I'm good in sharing my journey because it was a journey and it still is a
Yeah,
journey.
I understand. We're all going through a journey right now, aren't we?
Yes,
Collectively. And I
absolutely.
want before we start asking questions about what exactly happened, I just want you to tell everybody who you are.
Yes, I am Tina Lewis George, and I am a published author, and my author's name is Tina J. Lewis. I am a domestic violence survivor, and my book is about domestic violence and how God delivered me from that. So y'all know it's another book coming, and it's going to be about this experience. And I'm just so grateful that God just chose me in it all. In the midst of even before I became sick, I was in the a process of, contemplating on doing a book tour, and my book tour is going to be Total Deliverance. I was chosen. So with what
Mm.
I just went through, oh,
What a title. What a perfect title.
yeah.
It
So,
describes
yeah.
everything.
So I'm excited
Mm.
about that. So that's what I do. I do work a full-time job as well. And I have three grown sons. I have 10 grandkids. And I tell you, that is what I breathe and live for with the help of God that helped me to get through what I just came through. My family.
Look at that.
Yes.
Love. You're
Yeah,
surrounded by love. That's
absolutely.
amazing. That's a blessing.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So I know that you mentioned that you're a domestic survivor, domestic violence survivor. And I remember that's one of the things that brought us closer together is that we had an event August 10th of last year
Yes.
to say, hey, Houston, let's stop this domestic violence. We want to
Mm,
bring people out and bring awareness to this issue because it's a real issue that kills people every day.
absolutely. And Danielle, even, going through what I was going through in my weakness and my sickness, I'm sitting here watching the news. You know, being isolated with your abuser. They had a young lady here in Houston that lost her life doing this. And my heart goes out and I literally cried. And, I could see myself being isolated with my abuser. It's hard, even not being mandated that you gotta stay home with them. And it's a horrible thing to be going through such a horrific thing as this virus, but you can't go nowhere. But there is still help
Exactly.
out there. It's still help. So, you just have to make a plan and just be coherent on what you need to do to isolate yourself even within the walls of the home that you are in with your abuser.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I was reading an article the other day that stated that in the United Nations, that's not here in America,
Right.
it's over there, in France, Europe, and everywhere. And they said there's been an increase by 30%
Yes,
of domestic
absolutely.
violence since the
Hmm.
country has been on lockdown. People are
Absolutely.
stressed,
Mm.
people are, and then people's anxiety
Yes.
is peaking right now. Anybody with any kind of mental
Mhm.
disorder, unfortunately, it's been very, very hard to cope um with this living condition.
Right.
Who would have knew
Mm.
staying at home would be so detrimental to some people's lives? These
It is.
children too are affected
Exactly.
as well.
Yes, they are.
You know,
Yes.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you pointed out that there is help.
Yes.
There's I know in the US there's a national domestic hotline that you can just literally type that into the
Hmm.
Google search engine and it will
Yes.
provide you with the numbers that you need to get help. So don't
Exactly.
be afraid to ask for help. I think that's the number one killer is the silence part
That.
of it all.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just another reality, sad reality that we're all having to cope with. So I want to get into another question that I have for you.
Uh-huh.
So would you like to share with people what you do for a living?
So, what I do for a living, I work at a hospital, the Texas Medical Center, and I am a patient access representative, where I verify insurance information and obtain authorizations. I do not have patient contact at all. Well, I'm not going to say at all. Only time I actually have patient contact is when I need to go out front and speak to someone about their insurance or amount that they have to pay. So that's what I do. That's my 9 to 5, my 9 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. That's what I do.
Right. And so when you're out and about, do you make sure to wear your protective mask and your gloves and things like that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And so, like, when you first heard about COVID-19, how did you feel? I mean, did you take it serious when they first announced it that it
Oh,
hit the
yes,
US?
ma'am. Absolutely seriously. Oh my gosh. I would even, I send out these emails every morning and, just encouraging everybody not to be afraid because, God is in control. This is nothing new under the sun, and just encouraging everybody, just to have faith and believe that, that God isn't, He has it and eventually it will be gone. So yes, I was very coherent to it all and just, knowing it was a real deal. I just knew it was real, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
Hmm. And so then let me ask you this. How do you believe that you may have contracted COVID-19?
So I really feel like that it was at work. I'm not 100% sure, but I was doing everything that I knew that I was supposed to do, protect myself as far as washing my hands, hand sanitizing, and doing everything. Um, so and I do ride the rail into to the job. I don't know, but I really feel like that it was at the job. So, but like I say, I did everything that needed to be done to
That
protect
you thought,
myself.
right. Exactly. And also too, let me ask you, how long, when you found out you contracted it, how long did it take for your body to fight it off?
Girl, I just fought it off within the last, I'm gonna say the last week. I started with this. Actually, we had just started working from home, and my first day from working from home was March the 23rd. And with that, I started feeling, something wasn't right. I started off with a headache, and then I noticed kind of like flu-like symptoms. I'm thinking maybe it's allergies. And then within a few days, I lost my taste and I lost my smell, and I just went downhill after that.
Mm.
So I started March the 23rd. I actually got my clearance to go back to work today. So that's about 25 days, approximately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It took your body nearly a month.
Yeah.
Now, did they give you anything to fight it off? Or did they just tell you to rest and stay away from people?
Yes. Just basically isolating myself, resting, and taking Tylenol. I drank a lot of fluids, a lot of Gatorade, a lot of water, and even with with the smell and taste, it went away. And oh my gosh, I literally had no appetite at all. I had to force myself to eat. Food was absolutely nasty. You know, I'm a foodie. I love to eat. But during
Hmm.
that time, I might take a bite of something, maybe a couple of bites, and that was it. And even during this through this process, I've lost some weight in it all. So about 12 pounds in these 25 days.
25 days.
Yeah,
Right. Wow.
yeah.
And that's not the first time I heard that being a symptom of this virus. Let me ask you, and thank God you forced yourself to eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you needed some type of substance to sustain your body.
Exactly.
But I was going to ask you, did you ever at some point in time think to yourself, I should maybe take Theraflu or let me take, Benadryl or I don't know. Some people start thinking about different medications they should take, or were you advised not to take anything?
Well, I actually was taking the Tylenol cold and fluid, kind of helped a little bit, but then eventually I just, was basically just taking the Tylenol just for the, fever that I would get every now and then. But basically that's all I did through the process.
Okay, and something else I found out is that it's important that people stay away from ibuprofen.
Right.
What we heard from a previous doctor that we interviewed on this show, Dr. Richmond advises that you do not take medications with ibuprofen in case you test positive for this virus because it will enhance the effects and the symptoms in this virus. So
Exactly.
that's very important for people to know.
Yeah, and definitely
Um,
that's why I started just taking the Tylenol because I actually saw that on the news. So I just, had one of my sons, they went out and got me some Tylenol. It was my niece, one
mhm.
of them, girl, I was in a state of mind and my
Out of
mind
it.
was just like no
Mhm.
clarity at all. So,
Right.
yes.
Did you experience any of the chest pains that people talked about and the shortness of breath as well, in addition to that?
I didn't have the shortness of breath like some people said that they had. As far as chest pain, my breathing was okay. I had this cough initially, when all my symptoms start. It wasn't like how they say a dry cough because my cough was productive. I could, kind of, it was productive. So,
Got it.
yeah, basically that's how mine was. But on April the 4th, oh my gosh, and another thing is I just couldn't sleep. And that particular night, I might have slept an hour and just sitting up and was just in disarray. So and I know it was God just leading me just to because I was so weak to go to the emergency room. So I got in my car early that morning and drove myself to the emergency room. And by the grace of God, I made it there because looking back on it, I was like, wow. But anyway, I got there
Mhm.
and I did identify myself as a COVID-19 positive. So they, of course, they took all the precautions and took all my vitals and got me back in the room. And I saw the doctor. So she basically, did blood work, listened to my lungs, and she basically said they sounded clear, but she wanted to be on the safe side. So they did a chest X-ray at that point, and it did come back showing that I have. They diagnosed me as having atypical pneumonia, from COVID-19. So what they did, they put me on antibiotics, oral, and sent me back home to be isolated. So I had to take the antibiotics for 5 days. And once I did that, I could feel a difference in my chest area.
And I think that was a turning point of good health for you moving forward, because thank God you made a decision
Yes.
to be seen by a doctor. You know, if you would have just stayed at
Mm-hmm.
home like they initially requested,
Yep.
things could have turned for the worse, God forbid, you know.
Yeah.
So good
Yeah.
thing that you listened to your
Oh,
body.
definitely.
You listened to your body and you took action.
Yes,
Oh
absolutely.
my goodness.
Listening. And I tell
This
anybody
is a
that's going through
testimony.
this, listen to your body, even if you suspect, because I went through this, was going through it, and it was by the 29th. It was on a Sunday, and I was like, you know what? I need to find out if I have this. So I did, went to on the website on Reddy Harris, took the little questionnaire. I was assigned a number, then I called the number, and gave them my case number and spoke with a nurse, gave her all my symptoms, and she said I needed to be tested. That same day, they gave me an appointment. I had to drive to Katy, and then I found out on April the 1st that I was positive. And at this point, I was still,
Wow.
doing my work because I was working from home. But on that day that I was confirmed positive, I was taken off of work duty by my employer.
Mm, wow, this is just a surreal uh
It is.
testimony, and it's just, it's really real for me because I actually know
Yes.
you, and wow, I'm just so thankful to God that you pulled
Oh,
through,
girl.
and you should be proud of
Whew,
yourself,
I am grateful.
because
Y'all don't understand.
there's
This
so many
is
people.
real. It's
Mhm.
real. Listen to what they're saying. You have to treat everybody that you come around like they have it. You have to have that mentality just to think that I have to protect not only myself, I have to protect my family. And I live by myself. So I'm so grateful, even in the process. My niece, she lives in the same apartment complex with me, and they were coming by. And at that time, I didn't know I had the disease, the virus rather. And I thank God every day
Mhm.
that none of them tested positive or they got sick at all. And even with
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
coworkers, so
Mhm.
I had to have had it on my last day of work, which was March the 20th. And I thank God that I'm not hearing that anybody that I was around picked it up as well. So I just thank God for covering everybody that was in my path that I work with, that I
Amen.
love
Yes.
dearly.
Yes. And what's funny is we don't know how many times we have come into
Ooh,
contact with other individuals that tested
amen.
positive. We're not even thinking.
That's right.
And I've seen so many people entering the stores without face
Yes.
masks, without gloves. And I just want them to know that you're taking a high
Yes.
risk when you do that.
Absolutely.
So people need to take heed to this podcast that we're having
Yes.
today. Miss Tina Lewis Wood is a very good friend of mine. And it's just, this is just
Yeah,
crazy. All of
it
this is
is.
crazy from a global perspective, but it hits home when it's somebody that you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to thank you for sharing
You
your
are so
testimony
welcome.
today with me,
You are so welcome.
because you made me say to myself, let's make sure every time I leave this
Yes,
house, I'm suited and I'm
that's
booted
right.
and sterilized,
Absolutely.
and sterilize myself before I re-enter my home. Um, I think it's amazing that you've already written one book called Total Deliverance, a survival story, because that is what you
Yes.
are. You're the epitome of that. And so you keep
Oh,
fighting, because I'm watching your fight and you're inspiring me.
thank you.
And I know it's going to be other people that you're going to inspire as
Yes.
well. And I love the way that you battled everything so gracefully
Yes.
and so righteously, because I know that you're a woman of God and I can feel it and I can
Oh,
see it.
thank you.
So I just want to thank you so
You.
much for being that positive light in all this darkness that we have around us. Thank you for always being
Yes.
transparent. And you're like the light guiding us through the dark tunnels, because there's somebody out there that you just
Yes.
educated that thought that this was a conspiracy. There's somebody that you opened up their mind and ears, like, you know what? I better pay attention to this.
Yes.
So for that, I appreciate you. And I can't wait till I actually am able to physically see
Oh
you
yeah.
again. But we'll be counting the days.
Yes, I've been
Until
in this house. I actually went out yesterday. I had my mask on, and even when I did my interview with my doctor this morning, she said, gotta wear your mask. Oh, I said, oh, I understand. People don't understand. Wear your mask. And just do what you have to do to protect yourself. Because I'm telling y'all, it was some
absolutely.
days that I just thought I was fixing to check out of here, but God said no.
Hmm.
It was hard, and it was some
Right.
days, I lived by myself, and I was like, Lord, please don't let them come and find me, gone. But
Mm-hmm.
God is
Right.
amazing. He's awesome. And it was days that I was just so tired. I was so weak. It was some days that I couldn't even post on my Facebook page because I was just that weak. I couldn't even hold a pen in my hand to write in my prayer journal.
Oh my
That's
God.
just how bad it got. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm imploring everybody that's listening to this, take this seriously. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones, because there are people dying. And I was watching the news over in New York where they've had refrigerated trucks where they were just having to put the bodies in, and the people are still dying there. And I'm going to really speak to my people, my African American people. We're dying more than any other race because we have all this stuff going on. I do have a pre-existing. I have high blood pressure. I thank God that I didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
respiratory issues that are going on, like so many that have succumbed to this virus. But just pay attention, be vigilant, and just listen to what they're saying. Just stay home, stay safe. If you do have to go out of your home, wear your mask, use your sanitizer, wash your hands. And that's just my prayer for everybody, just to listen, because God is awesome, but we have to
Absolutely.
do our part as well.
Oh yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for spending your time with
You're
me this
welcome.
morning, Miss George, and I'm praying for your continued
Thank you.
strength and improvements each and every day. And until, like I said, until we
Yes.
meet again, and I want to thank everybody that tunes into the podcast. We may not be going each and every Sunday, but I'll always upload a new podcast when I have the opportunity. And again, Miss Tina, we want to thank you one more time, and you have a
All right,
blessed
you
day.
too, and thank you for having me. All right. All right,
Absolutely.
goodbye.